Hello, everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Future. I'm Jason.
I'm Andy.
And we're with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, where every Friday we host this show where we show you all the latest comics that are open order. That means if you place your order for the comics we're going to show, by Sunday night, you are guaranteed to get those comics.
Yes.
It's not like the times you walk in the store, you heard about a good one, and it's already gone.
It's happened to all of us at some point.
That's because those comics all went to the people who watch shows like this and pre-ordered. So, and speaking of which, I've talked about on our last few shows, but I got to bring it up. We have our new website where you can follow along with what we're going to go over. It's at infinityflux.net. If you want to, you can sign up and make a free account. From there, you can look at comic subscriptions. You can do a regular search, or you can hit last call FOC, and that's going to be the comics we're going over. This is the last chance to order them open order. Any comic that you click on, you can easily subscribe to the entire series, or you can pre-order a particular cover. So, and if you do this with us, it is all 10% off.
Nothing better than that.
Yeah, so happy to offer that service.
We're going to be talking about the books that you can order right now, right this second.
Absolutely.
Pull it up as you're watching this and follow along if you want.
Yeah,
we'll be talking about a lot of good stuff today.
Yeah, this is a pretty strong week. Some really cool ones to talk about, and let's begin. So let's start with the feature comics. These are the ones we think most people are going to want to hear the most about. They're important number ones and such.
Starting with Adventures of Superman, John Kent. This one is, I feel like we've heard about this one in the dawn of the DC, kind of one of the furthest back. We knew right when his previous series ended that he was getting this mini-series. Yes. We didn't know much about it other than this really cool blue suit he was wearing. They're reminiscent of the lightning suit
like
that his dad wore.
Superman.
Yeah, so been very intrigued. What is this book about? So this is going to be a 6-issue mini-series written by Tom Taylor. And what we're going to be following in here, I think is super cool. Someone is going through the multiverse and killing Kal-El Supermans, his John Kent's dad.
Wow, that sounds like a difficult task.
It's a pretty difficult thing. Sometimes they have a hard time with one. Now a bunch of them are falling. And Val Zod, the Superman of Earth 2, is going to come to John Kent to get his help. He thinks he's the only one that can help stop who this is, and the person who's been killing these Supermen is Ultraman. Ultraman, the evil Superman from the kind of twisted Earth.
That makes
sense. With the crime syndicate and everything.
Takes a Superman to kill a Superman.
And the big thing about it is, if people don't know, this kind of teenage version of John Kent was actually imprisoned and tortured for years by Ultraman. So that's kind of his main nemesis at this point. He's the one who kind of ruined his life and took his childhood away.
Yep.
So this is going to be those two teaming up, hunting Ultraman. But somebody else is with Val Zod, and they don't reveal who it is. It's just a mysterious woman who has a surprising tie to the Super family. Now, just this week, Tom Taylor revealed that one of the places, or the main place they're going to be going to in this, is actually the Injustice universe.
Yep.
The universe where his dad went bad. And I think it's going to be great to see how John Kent actually maybe has a chance of redeeming him, or what kind of influence will he have being kind of this beacon of hope in this very dark world.
The cover is more than alluding to that, like Road to Injustice, right there.
So I really looking forward to this. I think this is going to be great. We've got a bunch of covers for it, of course, because this is a big book for DC. So this is our main cover, our Clayton Henry cover. We have this ORZU variant.
Which kind of creepy.
It kind of has that like, oh, dad, teenage look of John Kent. We also have the SARMENTO variant. You can tell they're all loving working on this new costume. We have the MONTANEZ variant. We have the KAPLAN variant. We have the Henry variant, which is super cool with Val Zod on that one. We have the Megan HUANG variant. And lastly, we had the Lee Weeks SHAZAM Fury of the Gods variant to celebrate the new Shazam movie.
Yeah, and so with a book with this many covers, this is why we ask people to pre-order. You know, we retailers don't know how many to order. If we are too many, you know, we lose money.
Yeah.
So definitely let your store know which one you want by Sunday night, and you're guaranteed to get that one. All right, so next up from Marvel, Hellcat is getting a new miniseries. I'm pretty excited about this one because it's from writer Christopher Cantwell, who, of course, was doing the previous Iron Man series. And if any of you read that, which I hope some of you did, Hellcat was a huge character in that. I mean, it was practically, I joked that it should have been Iron Man and Hellcat.
Yep.
Or, you know, Iron Man and Patsy Walker. I mean, he proposed to her in it. She was like his confidant. She was also the person that kind of like shook some sense into Tony Stark when he needed it. Well, in this miniseries, Patsy Walker is back on the West Coast. She's living at her house with the ghost of her mother. That popped up. I can't remember what book that was in, but it was like a one-shot in something where the ghost of her mother was in this house. So they're continuing that. The artist is Alex Linz. And so this is being called a supernatural superhero mystery because the story isn't just about the ghost mom. That's already sort of established. What happens in this series is that somebody close to Patsy Walker in sort of her inner circle gets murdered, and she is a suspect. So she has to go running from the law. It's one of these situations where she's trying to find the killer. Meanwhile, she's trying to avoid police who are trying to stop her. So that is why they call it a supernatural superhero mystery. And that's the general premise of the 5-issue miniseries, Hellcat. So here's the main cover. Here is the INHYUK Lee cover. I'm guessing that's her friend's blood. Here is the Peach Momoko cover.
Which, I mean, she's kind of looks guilty on that, at least her reflection.
I think, there's probably something to this cover that is going to be more in the story. And then Scotty Young does a very much more lighthearted cover.
I think this is great because Hellcat became such a interesting big character during the Iron Man run that it's almost a shame that when the new Iron Man started, they kind of split ways. I love that she's getting her own path with this miniseries. Who knows, this could end up leading to more miniseries or an ongoing or something.
And, you know, Patsy Walker is a really old character. She started out in the romance comics, and you guys should read, if you hadn't, look up, it's fun to read about how she became a superhero. She inherited the past Hellcat suit, but there's more to it than that. It's a really interesting story.
Next up is our next entry into the Batman One Bad Day. This one I've been looking forward to. This is the Ra's al Ghul, written by Tom Taylor and the art by Ivan Reis. So this is a big team working on this one. And it's hard to get like what's the certain angle this issue is going by. But the description of it is basically Ra's al Ghul his goal has always been to better the world. Now he doesn't go about it a great way. It's his means don't justify the ends, but Batman has always been there in the way, and he's always tried to recruit Batman into his League of Assassins or work with Batman, even though they do come to blows a lot of the time. This time he's decided, I am just going to kill Batman off to finally reach my goals. So that's in general what it kind of says it's about. I've skimmed through this issue to see. The art is beautiful. I couldn't really pick out like, oh, there's a big hook, but I do know there is a pretty shocking thing that happens towards the end of the book. If you like big surprises, big things happening, I think this is a great one and just a perfect creative team for something like this. Now, I'll be showing the variants, but there is a Jim Lee variant, like always, but it was not available yet. So if you've been getting all the Jim Lee variants, we're not showing it, but it is available. So you can go ahead and order it if you know you'll like it.
I have a question. So on our site, does it have like just a blank thing? Like, are they able to still...
You can still order it. It'll say the Jim Lee variant. And I'm sure that will be populated at some point in the next day or so, hopefully. But they've all been good, so... We also have the CAMUNCOLI variant they've been doing for all of these that kind of matches.
Okay, so check this out. This is Stoneheart, a new ongoing Image series by Emma Kubert. And of course, she is the granddaughter of Joe Kubert, and she's the daughter of Andy Kubert. So
Dynasty.
I know, a dynasty. And this is not her first comic. Like, she did Inkblot. She's done a bunch of other comics, but Inkblot was her own creator series, meaning she wrote it, she did the art, she did the cover. Same here. She did the writing, she's doing the art, she's doing the cover. So, I mean, I see very big things in her future because Inkblot was really good. So the premise of Stoneheart, it's sort of a action adventure fantasy, and it follows a headstrong magician, who I'm assuming we're seeing on the cover here, who has been exiled from her magician's guild. And when they did this, they took away her memories. I guess they don't want people angry at them. And so she's in this new area, doesn't really have all of her memories, when she hears this mysterious voice that unlocks a power in her that's going to send her on a quest towards greatness. So I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty epic.
Yeah, it sounds good. I think the cover looks great. It's just the one cover also, so you don't have to chase down all the variants. But I'm looking forward. I think I hopefully will be the one that grab this and review it when it comes out. But that is what is going on with Strongheart #1, new ongoing series by Emma Kubert.
And next up is what I think is interesting. They're calling the final half of the excellent mutant celebrity story. So this is going to be a 5-issue miniseries. Excellent #1, if you're familiar with the Ecstatics team by Peter Milligan and Mike Allred. It's a very interesting, off the main road of the X-Men. But this has been going on for years. Ecstatics is pretty old now. And it sounds like, I can't tell if they're wrapping up the entire story, but it sounds like a lot of things will be changing in this one because a new Ecstatic team is going to be introduced. It even looks like there's Dupe over here, and then maybe like a dark Dupe on the other side.
Yeah.
And it says the villain Zeitgeist is going to attempt to reach social media godhood. That's always kind of been the twist on this kind of version of the X-Men, is they're very like pop culture driven, celebrity, all of that. So if you've been reading all of it, you want to make sure that you don't miss this, which sounds like a big entry into the Ecstatics saga that's been going on for years. There's also a few covers for this.
I've always thought Dupe looks a little bit like Slimer, but the evil one, he looks like if a black being turned evil and grew arms.
That's fun. We have a few variants. So we've got the Rico variant.
It's very good.
And then we also have the Romero variant. And that's the character holding up the Book of Ashanti, which I think is a little Doctor Strange crossover there.
Okay, so another mini-series that is beginning. It is Saturday Morning Adventures Dungeons and Dragons. So those of you who are my age or maybe a little bit, a few years older, probably recognize these characters because this is based off the old Saturday morning cartoon back from the 80s. I believe it began in 1983. It was hard for me to reach back and remember, when did I see it? But I was really, really young. But I thought the show was awesome. Of course, it's about a bunch of teenagers who ride a magical roller coaster into Dungeons and Dragons land, where each one has a magical item that did something different. I remember, I think the Ranger had the invisibility cloak, if I'm not mistaken. That was what I wanted. I was like, that would be awesome. Anyhow, they're back in their own mini-series, and I'm sure if you didn't see the series, they'll probably catch you up. I mean, what I said is basically the premise. Yeah. In this mini-series, though, someone is after the magic items, which that feels very much like the show. The show was always somebody who was after the magic items. But in addition, it also is going to bring up the question, after all this time, do they really want to go home? I mean, I remember Dungeons and Dragons World's really dangerous, but
I don't know. Be a little fun, too.
Yeah, it's got to be fun. So that is what's going on in Dungeons and Dragons Saturday Morning Adventure #1. And here is the Hickey variant to that series as well.
I think a lot of people will want to get this because those characters have not really appeared too much since that original show.
I know, and this will be a bridge between all the people who now play D&D, which is just huge now versus the people back, when I played at first back in like the early 90s, and it was like, the 0.1 percentile of my school.
Okay, next up is a new one-shot from DC. This is DC's Legion of Bloom, #1. So this is another holiday seasonal special. They usually do a winter one. This is going to be our spring special with all the green characters, it looks like. So this is going to be written by a whole host of writers. Names like Kenny Porter, Cavan Scott, Zach Thompson, Ashley Allen, and more, with a bunch of great artists. And like all of them, this is going to be oversized. This is celebration of spring, and starring characters, of course, like Swamp Thing, Floronic Man, but you can't have it without Batman. There's some Wonder Woman. Batman has a clause in his contract. I will appear in everything, even seasonal specials. A Blue Beetle story, which also features a character that probably is a deep cut for a lot of comic readers. It has Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man in it, which you have to Wikipedia him. Also Flash, and of course, a big Poison Ivy story. So I think this is great. I love these. They're always just fun. Couple page stories, but you get some fun mashups of characters that don't always interact. Love this cover with Swamp Thing. And there's a couple of other covers for it.
And if you're tired of winter like me, you're going to want something to celebrate the spring.
Yes.
I can't wait until, the lows are no longer lower than like 50 or so degrees.
Yeah. And we also have this, I believe it's a Derek Chu variant.
Yeah, Derek Chu doing his thing, doing it well.
Yep. And we have a Mike Perkins variant.
Wow.
They can even make the springtime horrifying.
Yeah, look at all the characters that are captured in that. Okay, so next up from DC is Milestone 30th Anniversary Special. So this is going to be giant size. This is going to be much like the book you were just talking about. A lot of anthology stories that are written by various writers and various artists who have done the Milestone universe over the past 30 years, also known as the Dakota-verse. And right here, this is interesting.
I love
because,
this.
yeah, they're doing an homage of Flash issue number 123, where Silver and Golden Age Flash first meet, also considered first multiverse story ever. So this is going to be one of those giant-sized books. That's $9.99. And the two stories that I read about that sound particularly interesting is Static is going to be in a future story with Batman Beyond teaming up. And then the other one I read about is there's another story sort of from the future of the Dakota-verse where Rocket has taken on the mantle of Icon.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's been passed on.
That's cool.
So that is what's going on in Milestone 30th Anniversary Special. And here is your variant. This is the Nicholas Draper Ivy variant.
We go with Batman Beyond.
Yeah. I mean, that's just awesome. The hanging upside down and the last, like, fourth of that being sort of upside down on them. Here is the Christopher Jones variant. And then we have the Scott Gerald's variant.
I think this one's going to be big because that is a direct reference to the animated Static Shock series, the same style. I love that they're still homaging that because that's how a lot of people like me first got into the Milestone universe, is through Static Shock being kind of adjacent to Justice League and Batman the Animated Series. Okay, next up is actually a Lazarus Planet miniseries. Mostly they've done one-shots, but this is actually going to be a 4-part miniseries, and this sounds really cool. So this is Lazarus Planet Revenge of the Gods, #1 of 4. It's going to be written by G. Willow Wilson, Becky Cloonan, Michael W. Conrad, and Cien Tormey. And this actually takes place after the events of Lazarus Planet, but because of all the stuff that happened, the gods of the multiverse, I'm guessing your like Olympian gods and just the kind of Shazam verse gods and all that have kind of had enough with the superheroes, and the faith in them has been dwindling, and they want to take it back, and so they are going to exact revenge on the superhero community. So it's going to be gods versus superheroes, headed up by Wonder Woman and Shazam. And it says the gods now want to rule humanity, not through faith, but through fear. So if you had any questions like, oh, maybe it's not that bad. Nope, they're coming at it in a very dark way. So we're going to see how Wonder Woman and Shazam deal with this. We also know we're getting a new Shazam ongoing series by Mark Waid and Dan Mora. I think this is probably going to lead into a little bit of that as well, kind of setting up what's going on with Shazam.
That would make sense.
So I think this sounds really cool. I like the idea of gods versus the heroes. It's very classical literary motifs. So we've got this A cover. Then we have the DeMeo variant. Of course, it's DeMeo.
It's got to be DeMeo. I got to put sunglasses on. Okay, so next up, also from DC, there's a new 6-issue Multiversity series, but this is Multiversity Harley Screws Up the DCU. So Harley is hanging out back at Coney Island with some of her old pals when someone, it doesn't say who, a mysterious benefactor, leaves her a time machine. I mean, this has to be somebody who wants some things to go wrong. So, of course, Harley decides to use it, and as the title implies, or more than implies, she screws up the DCU. So this is written by Frank Thierry with art by Logan Farber. And as a Harley fan of everything, I will certainly be reading this. So here's our main cover, and here is the Farber variant, which... he is going to be the interior artist. So I think this gives us a little insight as to what the interior art will look like.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of this too, and just by a very small action, things go really, really bad involving some classic DC villains maybe taking over. So really, really fun. Okay, next up, doesn't have the trade dress on it, but this is a new 10-part maxi series. This is Superman Lost. So I feel like this is kind of it's not in the prestige format, but it's a not in main DC continuity special aside. So this could be written by Christopher Priest, and the art is by Carlo Pagulian. And this is, the story for this is really interesting. So it says, after a routine Justice League mission, Lois Lane wakes up to find Superman back early, and he's just standing in the living room. But according to him, he's actually been gone 20 years. He recognizes nothing. He doesn't even really recognize Lois or any of the people around him. And he has to kind of figure out what happened. And, you know, this is a major hit to him and Lois's relationship, but is their love strong enough to overcome what has happened? So I think a bit of this is going to be this, like, what's going on in the current, and then we're going to see flashes to what happened when he was on this mission. So it's kind of like she comes into the room, like, oh, hey, you're back. And he's just like, oh, well, I've been gone for 20 years.
I mean, if I were Lois, I'd be like, all right, 20 years. Okay, one question. Who you been with? Just answer that straight out.
Yeah. So I think this is really cool. I saw some pages of this. It's very a little surreal with the topic and kind of how Superman is now having to come to terms with what's going on and everything. But some awesome covers for this where you see a hint of maybe what some of the stuff that happened is. So this is our A cover. Then we have the Joe Quesada cover. And you'll be seeing Superman in this new white suit quite a bit on coming up issues. So what happened in those 20 years? It looks like he got a new suit at least. I like how his cape is making a big S too.
Yeah.
Big logo. We also have the Lee Weeks variant as well.
Okay, and another series from DC. DC has a lot they're soliciting this week.
Yeah.
In fact, it looks like they're soliciting 2 or 3 weeks worth of things because of President's Day coming up. So the next one from them, it is Waller versus Wildstorm. This is going to be a 4-issue series. Looks to me like it's Prestige Plus format.
Yeah, I believe it is.
Yeah, so Prestige Plus format is sort of that wider format that they'll do some of the DC Black Label stuff, just so nobody is surprised by that. So this is by 2 writers. It's Spencer Ackerman with Evan Narcisse. The art is by Jesus Marino. And this is set in the 1980s during the height of the Cold War. And this is going to tell a tale about a much younger Amanda Waller when she is just kind of coming up with some of her ideas on how superheroes can be
manipulated,
better used.
Better used. Okay.
And she comes head to head with the current head of Wildstorm. And so that is sort of the premise of Waller versus Wildstorm, the new 4-issue miniseries for DC Black Label. And here is the Eric variant for that issue number 1.
I love that with the old Wildstorm logo. And this actually, a lot of the characters in this look like the 80s and 90s versions of the characters, which I think is always fun to go back
I was going to say Image should just be like Sue. Well, Sue, that's it. That's as Image as it gets. Yep. Cover right there. All right, so now for our next section. We're through the feature number 1s, but there are always so many. We can't feature them all. Here are the other number 1s.
Beginning with a new all-ages book called Toy. This just sounds really fun. It follows a inventor named, seems like his name is Toy, as he attempts to save his town from Lily Buttercup and her gang of goons. So it's an all-ages series. It's got very creative art style and characters. So we don't always feature a lot of all-ages stuff, but if you have a kid and looking for a new series for them, this looks like a lot of fun. Got a couple of covers. This one in particular is
Super Mario
homage, or they call it a parody cover.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just called the On the Run variant. I like the little round bunny.
Okay, so Sonic the Hedgehog is having a 5th anniversary one-shot. So that is what this is. And to celebrate that Sonic, this comic has been running for 5 years, they have brought back the original team. So the 2 people who started it are coming back. This is going to have an original story by them. This is going to have a reprint in it of Sonic number 1. And it's also going to have some extras where they're supposed to show you sort of like a behind the scenes on how they make the Sonic comics. So I don't know how in-depth they're going to go. This is where we grow the trees. But that is what is going on in Sonic the Hedgehog 5th anniversary number 1. We have a few covers for this. Here is the Yardley variant. And here is the Hernandez variant. And then I also wanted to show, here is Sonic number 59. This is just the regular cover for the 59th issue of Sonic.
Yeah, I just wanted people to see, Sonic comics are still going on. They're very popular. If you've never tried them out, I mean, look, you can get a reprint of number 1 with some fun stuff, and then jump on board, because they're almost to issue 60. It's really cool. And next up, there is a new reboot of Deja Thoris, and this one's actually be written by Chuck Brown, who, I mean, very big writer. Chuck Brown, Bitterroot, and the Black Manta series, all of that. And the art is by Emiliana Pina, and it's actually going to be set before the John Carter stuff, back when Deja Thoris was a younger princess. When her family gets attacked, her royal family, she flees into the wilderness and is planning a way to save her planet from this new Martian invaders. So if you're looking for a new number 1 from Dynamite, this one looks really good. This is our A cover. And then we have our Yoon variant with a very bored, kind of just waiting Deja Thoris.
Yeah, it's sort of like the Thinking Man. It's just the Thinking Thoris. Okay, so our last number 1 we're going to show off is Godzilla Best of King Ghidorah, because 3 heads are better than 1.
You were waiting on that one.
So this is going to be 100 pages for $6.99, where they have just compiled all the best stories with King Ghidorah over the years. I often wonder with these 100-page ones, it's like, how did they get that count exact? Are there a story and they're like, we'll have to cut it right here or pull a page or 2 to get that.
We'd rather have the exact number than have a full story.
Or it's like, wait, we're at 99 pages. The last page is just Ghidorah going, goodbye. So anyhow, that is what that is for $6.99, 100 pages. All right, so now our next segment. Cool covers and other comics. This is going to be variants of ongoing comics we think are really noteworthy. and issue number 2s and 3s of ongoing series, just to remind you that maybe if you read that issue number 1, you might like to subscribe for the rest.
Starting with Bishop War College, number 2. I just read issue number 1 of this on our last early review show. I thought this was super cool. Bishop kind of learning to settle down a little bit when he is teaching students, but something happens. He gets flung into a possible different future or the regular future, whatever it is. There is a black version of Cyclops and Jean. Just sounds like it's setting up a really cool, maybe Elseworld of the X-Men. I'm very excited to continue to read this. So if you haven't subscribed to it, subscribe to Bishop War College. It's number 2, and we've got some variants. We've got this really awesome Kari Randolph variant.
The confidence.
Yeah, I mean, that is... He doesn't care where that portal's leading. He is confident walking through it. And we also have the... this is the Ron Lim variant.
Okay, so I know what a lot of you people are waiting for. More Alex Ross variants.
Got quite a few this week.
Yes. So this is the 3rd week you can pre-order these variants. I have to say that from when we first showed them to now, our orders have about tripled.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a good one to pre-order because stores, a lot of times they just order the same amounts. And that means you're going to find less and less on the shelves because they'll have been pre-ordered.
Yep.
So you can do that easily through our website or contact whoever you get your comics through, and I'd get these on pre-order if you're wanting to get them all. So this is the Avengers Forever number 15 Alex Ross Timeless Kang variant. Then there's actually some other covers I want to show. Here is the Hainsworth Connecting variant. So we showed one of these last Friday.
Yep.
And we were talking, will there be a series of these with all the characters? And I mean, when you get really close, there they all are.
Yep.
Little sort of
they're little pixely
8 or 16-bit versions.
Yeah.
But it's a wraparound, so here's the back cover. So this is only the second one of these that's been done. So if you think this is cool, this is another variant series that you might want to get behind. I can't wait till they arrive.
Yeah, I was actually zooming and looking. There's Marvel Zombies on here. So there's like the little Marvel Zombie Spider-Man and Wolverine and Cyclops, Red Hulk, Beta Ray Bill's in the top. Like, you will have a blast just getting this and just, sitting down and looking through all and see if you can name all the characters.
So great variant covers aside. This is Avengers Forever Hainsworth Connecting variant. This is going to be part 9 of Avengers Assemble, the penultimate issue of that whole Jason Aaron run and where it's all been leading. I also want to mention that Avengers Rage of Ultron Marvel Tales is also available for order. So there's going to be a collection of some of the best Ultron tales out there. It's usually like $7.99.
I think it's $7.99. Yeah. Okay, next up, another Ross Timeless variant, this time the leader, and this is for Hulk number 13. So this is kind of a big issue people have been waiting for. This is Titan, the Hulk's Hulk, the evil Hulk is breaking out, and it's going to be a Titan versus Hulk. And some of Hulk's most trusted friends are going to be fighting. So I think this is going to be kind of an all-out action issue. We also have a variant. This is the McNiven Classic Homage variant. So
yep.
I think if you've been in comics for any amount of time, you've seen the original one of this.
Absolutely. Okay, so this is the Alex Ross Red Skull variant for Captain America Symbol of Truth number 11. And in this issue, Sam Wilson is going up against White Wolf. And I have another variant I'm going to show now, another Alex Ross. This is the Ross Timeless variant for Captain Marvel number 47.
I love this Juggernaut.
Yep, just looking kind of snide the way he is.
And we've got Red Goblin number 2. This is another one. Number 1 just came out this week. Great first issue. And in this one, it was revealed that there is a new Goblin King. And he has been pulling together his Goblin Nation, these kind of followers of the Goblin. He's kidnapped Norman Osborn, and it's going to be up to Red Goblin and Normie Osborn to save him. So if you like that first one, definitely pick up this series, subscribe to it.
We now take you back to your regularly scheduled Alex Ross variant. This is Miles Morales Spider-Man #4, the Ross variant, of course, with Scorpion on it. And in this issue of Miles Morales #4, he had just started the battle with Rabble, his new villain. So that battle is going to continue on in this issue.
And next we have Yoda #5. This is the Messina variant. This is about the new recruits of Jedi have been kind of rising up the ranks in the Jedi Order. But there's a simmering darkness among all of them, and it's up to Yoda and Dooku to figure out what's going on. So this is, like I said, the Messina variant. And then there is the Peach Momoko variant with Gare.
Okay, so another Alex Ross, a beautiful one, White Queen on it. This is Wolverine #31 Timeless variant by Alex Ross. In this issue, it's a very Beast-focused issue. Beast is going to do anything to protect Krakoa, even things that really, really make Wolverine mad. So Andy produces a show. He gathers the screens and decides the order. It must have been tough deciding, will you put all the Rosses together or spread them out?
Yeah, if there was those books had another cover I wanted to show, it's like, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
So this was the best case scenario.
I'm glad to leave those decisions to you.
Yeah.
So good job.
Okay, next up we have our next issue of Batman Joker Deadly Duo. This is Deadly Duo #5. They've been doing these Batman and Joker variants. And this time they are by Whilce Portacio, Image founder Whilce Portacio. So this is the Batman variant and the Joker variant.
They both look so scary. It's hard to tell who's crazier. I'll have to see them together.
Yeah. Or there's also this coming out, which I think is super cool. DC's done a little bit of this before. This is Batman Joker Deadly Duo, Enemy of My Enemy. This actually collects issues 1 through 3. So if you missed those earlier ones and you want to catch up, you can pick this up and then jump right on board if your store has the #4.
Need I even tell everybody about Batman #133? I mean, who is not reading Batman if you're buying DC? You know, I'm sure some of you, but most people are, and I've really liked this story arc. In this, Bruce Wayne has been zapped to an alternate world where there is not a current Bruce Wayne, and Gotham is not a nice place. So it looks like he's going to have to, become Batman. I think he might call himself the Batman, like with a hyphen now. I don't know. But yeah, he's going to invent himself into the Batman that world needs. I'm looking forward to how this plays out.
You can now look at it and be like, is there anything I wish I had done different when starting out? Is there any tweaks I want to make? Maybe I do like the hyphen in Batman.
It also looks like maybe he's going to go find out what happened to this world's Bruce Wayne.
Or digging his own
in the grimmest possible way. Last issue, we met this world's Alfred, who's very, very different, living a totally different life. So here's the regular cover. Here's the Quesada cardstock variant. And here is the Art Germ variant for Batman 133.
Very disturbing. Next up is Batgirls #16. Just want to show you a couple of these covers. Marquez did the Stephanie Brown Batgirl. Now it's the Cassandra Cain Batgirl. Kind of the two you can put together. It's really cool.
I like this one because, okay, so you don't get the face, and without expression and eyes, you end up looking at the attitude of the body, which it gave so much attitude.
Yeah. And there's also the International Women's Day variant. This is the Lin Yoshi variant.
Okay, so this is the Bermejo. How many gross, sick, crazy Joker covers are on this week? This is if you're a Joker collector, just empty your wallet.
Yep.
This is the Bermejo variant for Joker, the Man Who Stopped Laughing, #6. And in this issue, this sounds pretty good. I like the premise. Joker decides to get into politics while he's living in LA. I guess no publicity is bad publicity. So that is the premise, but here's the Bermejo variant for that.
Then next up, we've got Poison Ivy #10. Now, before we talk about the variants, it was just announced that Poison Ivy has gone from a miniseries to an ongoing. So I feel like that's a awesome thing for a series to do. It's like it proved its worth.
Yep.
And Poison Ivy, of course, is a fantastic series.
And it previously was extended.
Yeah, it was only supposed to be like 6. And
then they extended it and now ongoing, and that's awesome.
Yeah, so this is really great. It also sounds like Ivy is going back to Gotham. which is going to be interesting. You know, it's kind of also seems like a good jumping on point if you haven't been reading it. And I hope they continue with these amazing covers because we have this Jenny Frison variant.
Really good. Shakespeare homage.
Yes, but whose skull is that? It's probably someone she killed.
I don't want to be dead, but in a way, they're kind of lucky to be that close to Ivy.
And then there's this beautiful Middleton variant. Middleton's been doing some just like really almost like angelic, ethereal Ivy covers.
That's going to be one that people are going to come in day of. And there's not going to be enough on the shelf.
And then there's the Patridge International Women's Day variant with a very just lazing about in the swamp Ivy.
Okay, so Static Season 2 just began. This is the main cover for issue number 2. It's called Static Shadows of Dakota. And in this issue, we're going to get more of Ebon, the villain who is from the Static animated universe, who's just been brought into the comics as he's doing things in the shadows. He's not quite as nice as Static. He's trying to find out about his missing brother, the Rubber Band Man, whatever happened to him. And then here is the Harris cardstock variant for that same issue. It's cool.
And next up, a very funny cover for Wildcats number 5. Of course, is the Dan Hip variant. But this one also sounds cool because this is Wildcats versus the Seven Soldiers, which are the team that was put up to look good as the Wildcats do the dirty work. Looks like they're coming to blows, but also the Court of Owls are lying in the wait to see who's going to come out on top so they can strike. So very cool, and we have this Dan Hip variant, and we have this Rebecca Isaacs International Women's Day variant.
Here's the main cover to Spawn, issue number 339. In this, there is a new contender who is claiming that he wants the throne of hell. So Spawn has to gather its allies and worry about that. Again, this is the main cover, and then here is the Keen variant for Spawn, issue number 339.
Okay, and then just a really fun cover. Whatnot has been doing a lot of like homage covers. I feel like that's one of their strong selling points is their covers. And we've got this for Quested number 4, this Zelda Ocarina of Time one. I love how they redo the logos. They did that with the PlayStation logo and have the 64 logo. So if you like your video game homages, I feel like this is a really good one.
On to the final part of our show, other printings and graphic novels, beginning with 2 second prints. First up, it's the Amazing Spider-Man number 18 is getting a second print. This, of course, was part of Dark Web with a new cover. And then there's also a Dark Web finale second print with a Kubert cover.
Also, if you missed it or your store sold out, I believe we sold out of all but like 1 or 2 variants. Bloodline Daughter of Blade is getting a second printing with this Ryan Stegman recolored cover.
I really like the title that they put the O's together in a heart and put a stake through it. I mean,
that tells a whole story right there. Like, this is a vampire thing.
Whoever designed that should have won some minor designer award. Okay, so another second print, Scarlet Witch number 2 is going back to second print. This is a very popular new series, and here's the door, here's Vision. So if you read all the prints, here it is.
And then Star Wars High Republic, The Blade number 2 is getting second printing. This time with that mysterious character that showed up at the end of that issue, General Vice. You can see they're even noted on the cover. So this is, if that's a big character, this is the first cover appearance. Very cool. I feel like they know with Star Wars, like, we got a new character, they're making the second printing cover.
Okay, so here's a facsimile. It's a facsimile of Batman issue number 357. This is an issue, if you find in the wild, just grab it. If somebody else grabs it, play tug of war. Because this has 2 first appearances. It has a first appearance of Killer Croc and the first appearance of Jason Todd in one book.
Yeah.
So if you can't get your hands on it, you can buy a facsimile of it now, up for order. And then here's another second print from DC. Nightwing issue 100 with a new Bruno Redondo cover is going back to second print.
Which is an homage to Batman the Animated Series. So I think that's super cool. Instead of night, it's day, but it's still like on the same building. And next up, this is super cool. So, of course, everyone's heard all the news about James Gunn and the future of the DC cinematic universe. One of the great things that he's done is really said, the movies and what comics inspired them. And so a lot of these have been out of print for a while, and they're actually putting all of these in print. So if you're excited about those movies, you want to know more about them, and directly the ones that they say have inspired the upcoming movies, they're putting those out. So we are getting a new edition of Batman and Son. This is pretty much directly what the new Brave and the Bold movie is going to be about. You can get this story for $19.99. Highly recommend this one, along with one of my favorite series, Batman and Robin. Now, this is when Dick Grayson was actually Batman, and Damian Wayne was just starting out as Robin. They are a fantastic duo, and I highly recommend this to anybody who is getting into reading Batman books.
The whole end of our show is going to be stuff because of James Gunn's announcements. So continuing that on, they're re-releasing Booster Gold 52 pickup, the full trade, issues 1 through 6 of the Jeff Johns series. And this is where Booster Gold has to repair the timeline to be able to prove his worthiness to possibly join the Justice League of America.
Yep.
So this is going to be $19.99. And next, it is The Authority.
Yes.
So I think a lot of people probably are not as familiar with The Authority as many other teams. This was by Warren Ellis with art by Brian Hitch. And so this is also being re-released due to the announcements.
Yep. And another one, this one is like, good luck finding a collection of this before. This is Creature Commandos, which is going to be the first thing we get of the kind of the new universe as an animated series. And this collects Weird War Tales, which was kind of where they came about. Issues 93, 97, 100, 102, 105, 108 through 112, 114 through 119, 121, and 124. So a lot of issues surrounding these characters for only $24.99. And also, they really went through and picked all the ones that are corresponding. So we know we're getting a new TV show that's about Paradise Island, like a prequel to Wonder Woman. And this is Wonder Woman Paradise Found. It's going to be $19.99. It collects a lot of the issues around the kind of the history of Paradise Island or set on Themyscira. And this is written by Phil Jimenez. We've got this awesome cover, all the covers that were by Adam Hughes. Another one that's probably been out of print for quite a while. So I think this is great. Like, when people are excited, give them the books to kind of get them caught up and satiate their appetite until those movies get further along.
Okay, and that is our show for this week. So thank you very much. And if you want more details on all those comics, or you're looking for a place to order them from, you can go to our website at infinityflux.net, where it is easy to sign up for an account. Thank you to everyone who already has signed up for an account and has already ordered books from us. We very much appreciate it. So everything we talked about should be on there. Everything should be orderable. You can subscribe to an entire series, or you can just order individual covers that you want. I'm so happy we have such an easy site that we can send people to after all this time. So again, thank you very much, and we'll be back on Monday with our day early comic review show. Until then, have a great weekend and enjoy the Super Bowl. Just throw in something non-comic.
Yeah, why not?
Have a great evening.